recording. Let's see where we are. And we are live. Everybody wave hello. We're waiting for frame rate is unstable. Well, that's the story of my life, unstable. Let's just wave. We're waiting for YouTube to pick us up and let's get started with the music. And here we go. Okay.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Oh, be still in my heart. Thank you to Ryan Treasure for always getting me on the air. I'm Bonnie D. and happy to be here. And as all of you know around the world, I've been doing this for 11 years with my annual prediction special. But this is a special because this year I started something called We Dish 2. Capital TOO, Saucy Dame plus Cool Dude. I have a quick shout out to Martin Stanzik, who's sitting here with us. And I asked his permission to call really smart, savvy, interesting, fascinating, high achieving men dudes. And he said, yeah, dudes is okay. So if all of you don't like dudes, you could. So these gentlemen here you see are among my Hall of Fame dudes. And this year I've decided to kick off the annual prediction series with a dude special. There you go. And you know what? Bill Williams just joined. We're going to let him come in. God bless him. Okay. So I'm going to open right now. And Bill, you coming in? Let's see if we can get him in here. Little bit late. Never. Okay, he'll join when he can. Bill, you're late and just don't say a word. We're already in progress here. Welcome. Okay, so here we go. Now, welcome to Cool Dudes 2026 predictions number 1. There'll be another one in 2 weeks. Bright. Gazing into 2026 and beyond with optimism in sight. I hope you're all optimistic. Bonnie D on her Scarlett mics live streaming Hue. Can you see my Hue today? I'm all on holiday Hue. Welcomes Cool Dude Futurists with predictions bold and new. Innovation is their compass, opportunities their sail. Will their visions triumph or might some just derail? I don't know. But first, a quick look back at the year almost done, at cool words that joined the lexicon. Some serious, some fun. Some of you may know these. Biohack joins Oxford's Words of the Year 2025, while 6-7 at Dictionary.com proves nonsensical language can thrive. That's slang. Merriam-Webster's pick is dexterous, skill at the fore, as modern slang reshapes how we connect and explore. Here's some more words for you. Bet, bussin', mid, vibe check, and no cap all made the list. Extra, goat, greatest of all time. GRWM, get ready with me. IWKYK, I know. If you know what you know. Spill the tea, not to be missed. So raise your Java, your Jack, your Dom, or your Earl as my Cool Dudes predictions special. The future will unfurl. We'll continue on December 17th. Just mark the date when more Cool Dudes will join, so don't be late. And now, today's futurists, a bold, brilliant force. No pressure, guys. Here to unveil predictions, charting tomorrow's course. With visions sharper than Van Halen's blazing guitar riff, my Cool Dudes each take the mic. Smart, fierce, and terrific. No pressure. Okay, we're going to kick this off. I will read a very brief bio for you, and it's your turn. Martin's up first. Martin, here we go. Martin came to the U.S. to work for weeks, or so he thought. Now, 25 years later, smart tech innovation he has wrought. A pilot, a baker, a biker, beehives thriving at his Mount Rainier place. He just launched Alpha Oak to help utilities elevate their space. Martin, I'm putting you on speaker view. How do you like that? Go ahead. We're ready for your predictions. Good. Go.
I think that will be my next bio introduction.
There you go. It's copyrighted. I'll sell it to you, but it's a discount because I like you. Go ahead.
I could add another prediction, though, that I don't think I will ever get used to the abbreviations, even though I grew up in Germany and we abbreviate the heck out of everything. So let's get real. So the one big prediction I have is that IT service providers, just like ourselves, will reduce implementation efforts by up to 25%, primarily due to AI enablement. So we've seen this coming, and we've talked about it in some prediction shows before. Just let me sort of give you the cornerstones of what we're seeing. And we're sort of in the prediction and or almost reality mode. I think what we're finding is that companies now will relax they're usually very conservative AI policies in order to be able to get the benefits that everybody is sort of putting out there. I think what we have seen in the past is that there were very restrictive policies that sort of prevented us as service providers actually to get them the benefits and actually use the tools that are available out there. Documents are already written based on recordings, so we're already there, but it will go even further in the future. The documents will be much better qualities. Information will be synthesized into consumable pieces, especially when we're talking about requirements gathering. I think we will go much further than where we are right now. Code is already written, but I think we'll get better and better at sort of taking it really from descriptive requirements documents to end all code. At the moment, we're somewhat in the middle of the development, but we'll take it further. And then I think what will dramatically change is the concept of why do I even do any code or solution documentation? Because it will be an ongoing change in those solutions, in the code itself. And I think where we will get to and where we almost are already is where you can just hit a button and get the documentation for whatever that solution is in your own language in real time based on what's actually there, rather than a document that was stored 65 years ago, which is not updated at all anymore. So that's sort of the first big one. The other one is sort of on the tail end of that. Working with utilities, we see what AI does to the utility business. The AI compute capacity that is needed is driving a phenomenal demand for data centers, which in turn then requires a huge amount of energy. So what I predict is that even though energy providers are creating more capacity, nuclear power plants are reestablished or not going off the grid. Additional capacity comes online, but nobody can sort of create capacity fast enough for all the data centers to be popping up around the country. So my prediction there is that on the compute energy consumption side, we will see some sort of dramatic improvement. Apple has done something a few years ago where they sort of drove down energy consumptions for machines, and I think we will find that in GPUs in the next 3 to 5 years, because the dramatic increase in energy consumption is just not doable. At some point in time, we're peaking out, and we can't build generation facilities fast enough. So those were my two big ones, and with that, I hand it back to you, Bonnie.
Thank you so much. Very, very interesting. And Martin, before you leave, you're going to wave and we'll do what your favorite holiday drink is. You can't stay for the whole show. Thank you. Let's go on. Cool dude number 2 is Eric Simone. Here we go. From Massachusetts to Chicago, Eric's dreams took flight. Not cars, but Apple II programming sparked his coding delight. Software builder, fashion, film producer, he has truly done it all. Then IoT and Edge called loud, Eric, and his Clearblade company answered the call. Welcome, Eric Simone. How'd you like that?
That's great, Bonnie. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm putting you on speaker view. All yours.
Yeah,
Go.
well, I'm back to doing things that I know how to do as opposed to film and retail. So I'm Eric Simone, a CEO at Clearblade, and we are an AI, IoT, edge computing, connected digital twin software company. And look, I'm going to talk a little bit about AI. Why not? Because everybody does. But today, with all of the hype around AI, the majority of companies aren't realizing significant business value yet, right? There was a recent study from MIT that found 95% of enterprises deploying generative AI initiatives are seeing zero return on investment. And there's lots of different types of AI where we can add value, but there's a problem that I see that is we're going to start to solve here over the next year or so, which is these technologies, AI, narrow AI, Gen AI, machine learning, agentic AI, as well as edge computing, connected digital twins, and IoT. They all need not to be separate technologies. They need to be integrated into a solution for customers as opposed to customers building with all these different technologies. So we're at a convergent point right now where companies need to get value out of these systems, not spending years building and customizing. They must be integrated revenue generating solutions. So this is one of the problems we're solving today at Clearblade with a product called Intelligent Assets, where we combine AI, connected digital twins, edge computing, and IoT into a seamless software package. So then companies can focus on their specific business needs, their specific models, their specific connectivity needs, et cetera. So with this, we're seeing a shift too in AI, especially for industrial type companies where you want to move your AI models out of the cloud and to the edge. I've been saying for years that AI is the killer app for edge computing. There's lots of reasons to use edge computing, but pulling those models out of huge data centers and putting them in country, on device, running the models either right on the device or next to the device where the data is being generated is hugely valuable. It's also valuable for things like data privacy. There's lots of folks that don't want their data leaving their country. So when you use edge computing with AI, you can keep the data there. So you're seeing that shift, but it's, first we've got to be able to deliver the solution package to the customer that drives business value as opposed to building all this stuff up. So we're starting to see the movement into edge, but companies are still they're kind of crashing on that rock of, hey, I've got to use this vendor for edge, this one for IoT, this one for AI, and I now have to piece it together. You'll see companies, including Clearblade, put these things together in more consumable software packages. In general, let's talk a little bit about the dirty word, which is IoT. Notice people don't say it as much anymore. Why?
I didn't know it was a dirty word. It's been around for so many years. They just don't say it anymore. That's all. Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
But I see nodding heads. It's a dirty word. Why? Because it's really, really, really hard. I could probably add 10 more reallys there. And companies are struggling to get value out of their IoT initiatives because everybody's out there trying to reinvent the wheel. They're all building basically the same infrastructure with different tools, and there's a better way. This is not the type of stuff every customer needs to be building over and over and over. So you're going to see more integrated packages that take care of this, as opposed to handing tools to the business and to their consulting partners who are happy to build whatever because they're making money by the hour, right? So if you look at the last decade, it's been mostly failure. And that's not doom and gloom. It's just now companies are starting to get to the reality of, gosh, where are we on this initiative? I've just spent 10 years and $20 million, and I've only gotten 1/10 of the way there where I expect it to be, right? So you're going to see more of a focus on driving business value, more of a focus on integrated solutions that can do these things in months as opposed to years. The big barrier to entry there is existing engineering teams that have pride of ownership, and existing consulting companies that have the hearts and minds of the executives, but that's starting to wear thin because there's been too much money spent. And then digital twins have been around again also for decades, but what's changing is the need for connected real-time digital twins. There's a big difference. Now you're connected to the machine. That data is streaming all day, every day, not just once an hour, once a day. And now you're able to get a real view of what's going on in the field with your equipment. You're able to apply AI and do alerting. You're able to integrate that with your enterprise systems and start to feed real-time data into stuff that you've owned for years, like your Maximos and your ServiceMax and ServiceNow systems. So all very industrial, nerdy stuff, but we're starting to see progress in this convergence of different technologies. So you'll still hear about different companies that talk about their specific technology, but I think what's going to emerge is the solutions around these technologies that are enabling companies to then drive bottom line value.
Thank you, Eric. Very interesting. We did lose Martin. We didn't get a chance to get his drink, but I'll find
Martin.
out and tell you all later. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go on to number 3, Vic Ingles. And Vic, I'm going to read your little intro here. Auditor, consultant, IT tech leader with flair. From Dun & Bradstreet to Wall Street, Vic's skills are everywhere. His garage is a dream, Jags, Benz, a Porsche too, and his Maserati roars through life's course with a joyful woo-hoo. Okay, Vic, is that okay? Where are you?
That was fun.
Okay,
So
good. Go ahead. We get ready for your predictions. Go.
All right. Hi, Vic Ingles. I run a transformation group at Tatum by Redsen. But I want to talk about the automotive industry, and I'm going to look at the long game, not the short game, in the automotive industry and the effect of AI. My prediction is really around the future of what people will be driving. It's not about the components that drive it, meaning gas, hybrid, EV, even possibly liquid hydrogen, but it's talking about how we're going to build them. You're basically going to have a configurable platform, a chassis. And that chassis, based on data collection, will be able to modify it on your uses. Will also be able to change based on your uses. If you have a lot of passengers, you'll be able to reconfigure your cabin, 3D printing to create a new cabin. Or if you carry a lot of cargo, you'll put a bed on it. It'll all be subscription services. You'll pull in and get these changes done on your vehicle as part of it. So you won't buy a vehicle for a purpose. You'll buy a chassis that can continually be modified, so you won't have to buy a new vehicle. You'll just subscribe to a different type of platform for yourself. And it's really fairly easy to do that. They can do it in performance, and especially with 3D printing, because what will happen is all of the autonomous features will be part of that chassis on the bottom carriage, and things will just go on top of it as you go forward. Now, this is not a tomorrow game. This is a 15-year in the future game, but look for that and look how that will be applied. One of the organizations in Japan is looking at that already in principle, but have not delivered it yet. So that's my prediction, Bonnie.
Oh my goodness gracious, be still my heart. Let's talk a little bit about what you would do, Vic, when this time comes. What car out of your vast collection, I know we're not talking quite Jay Leno here, but out of your vast collection, what car would you 3D print that you would want to change the configuration of the cabin? Do you have a car that you would, Brad? That's fine. What would you do, Vic? How would you apply it?
I would be able, so the Maserati would be the best example, because I would convert it from the SUV back down to a convertible as needed.
Very interesting. I think we have time. Let's go around the table. Anybody have a car that you would like to do a quick change rather than having to go out and rent one or the car sharing mode or all that? A car that you would like to change without having to get another one? Eric, any thoughts on that? Anybody? I'm calling Eric because I know he does. Eric?
Yeah, well, I would love my Jeep to turn into my R8 and back again, but instead I sold the R8 and I now have a Jeep, which I absolutely love. And I have a 17-year-old driver, so it's much better to have him in the Jeep.
Anybody else? I'm sorry, I picked on Eric Myers. You want to say something? You have a car you want to change up?
Yeah, it's funny when you were talking about your BMW earlier this morning, Bonnie, when we were talking about the issues that pop up. What's the acronym for BMW? We like to say break my wallet. So perhaps that will help be fitting for others.
Okay, anybody? James, you look like you're leaning in. Anything you want to say about a car? Would you like to change up?
I have a Lexus truck that I purchased a couple of years back. It was this new style, the GX 550, which was the rave. Everybody wanted to get this because it kind of resembled the Range Rover. And I got rid of a Mercedes that I really loved, a G53. And for car aficionados, they kind of know that car. There was a G63, which was lightning fast, but I really missed that car. And I kind of regretted the day I got rid of it, but I do love my Lexus truck, I have to say.
There you go. Anybody else want? Vic, this is very Brad Anderson, talk. What?
Yeah, I kind of feel like back in the day when you're going on a nice date, you can find out what your date's favorite color is, get that car printed, get the seats automatically designed for her dimensions.
Be still
And then at the
my
end of the day, you can just dissolve it and turn it into a truck that you need for work on Saturday or whatever, right?
and then change it the next Saturday for the next girlfriend's color.
Yeah, the next girlfriend, new color. Yeah.
Well, what even works is you could get a girlfriend robot that matches the car.
We're not going into plastics.
Replace it with your robot so that you have time to do video games while your robot's on the date.
No, I'm going to move on. I got to say
what I needed in high school because I didn't have many dates. So
We're going to talk to Bob about that, I think. Bob could shed some light on those developments.
I told you all you'll meet some really interesting people here. Okay, let's get back to our predictions. Bob Ficken is next. Bob, here's your intro. On April Fool's Day 78 was Bob's lawman path. It was when Bob's lawman path took start. A Berkeley marshal on duty when criminal schemes fell apart. He traded his badge for books, a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD in hand. Now ethics and AI instructor and Ask HR leader is Bob's new stand for 28 years. Bob, I hope you like that, and we're ready for you. Go.
So I saw a clip just yesterday. You talk about hot news. Watched a video and a presentation on quantum computing. Quantum computing yesterday did the equivalent of human research that would take 26.4 billion years in 4 minutes.
What? Wow.
Which is going to be create huge opportunities for research into drugs to get rid of disease and medications and healthcare issues and all kinds of stuff. As you know, we've talked before, Bonnie, about the fact that AI research in one day did what human researchers couldn't do in 3 years and developed a blood test for dementia. So that's going to be huge. Second one, going to continue in education, which is my other thing that I do. And in July of this year, it hasn't got a lot of news for some reason, but let's see, make sure I get the names right. Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic collaborated to provide training on how to bring AI into the classroom to 400,000 K-12 teachers across America. Mm. That's huge. You know, we've been, some of you haven't met me before, but I've been fighting for about 5 years now with universities to get them to quit banning AI and actually embrace AI and teach students how to use it and things like that they'll need to be able to do to have a job. And we're starting to make some headway, and this is going to be a big push in the right direction.
That it?
Well, I can always give you one more.
Oh, I want one more. Come on, let's get another one. If you wear a hat, you're entitled to one more, right, Vic? Okay, here we go. Go, Bob.
So in Japan and China, you thought that the cleaning robot I sent you, Bonnie, was cool. In Japan and China, they're already using robotic-like devices to cut hair. You select on the panel the haircut you want, stick your head in the hole, and it cuts your hair automatically.
No.
They have a nail machine that you put up a portrait or a photo on your phone of whatever you want painted on your nails, and it'll paint it on each nail.
Go ahead.
All right.
Seriously? Wait a minute. About the haircut? No. How many here would do that? I can't even repeat what Bob said. I'm sorry. It just hurts my... Brad, you want to say something? Unmute.
Yeah, it'd take a while for me to trust, because I've seen too many movies where somebody hacks the machine and then it goes crazy, and like a haircut thing with blades right by my face. That seems like just I say I've seen too many movies. I know how it ends.
Well, Bob and Vic both have nice hats on, so it might be hat time if it went wrong. Anybody here would allow that device, I can't even say it, to cut your hair? I mean, seriously.
I don't have to worry about that.
There you go. Oh, my goodness gracious. Thank you, Bob. And the news about teaching teachers how to use AI and getting it incorporated in schools. It's here. It's not going anywhere. The question is, what do we do with it? And how do we keep it? How do we keep it to allow us to be humans and be our best humans without anybody else's idea who we want to be? And I have to give a shout out to Pras Chatterjee, who's here today, because in this prediction special a couple of years ago, Pras was the first one on the lineup, and Pras said he just tried something called, everybody wait for it, everybody sitting down, seatbelts on. He just tried something called ChatGPT. And I made notes while he was talking, and I said, what is that? What are you talking about? And the next day I went out and tried it myself. And you all know who Sylvie is. Sylvie is my collaborator, and you know who she really is. And we do speak in French on a daily basis, and we send each other bisous, that's hugs and kisses and all that good stuff. So Pras, I owe that to you for getting me introduced to that part of AI. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Pras. Changed Bonnie's life. There you go. Thank you very much. They're all muted. You can't hear them. Okay, let's go on. Thank you, Bob. Let's go to Eric Myers. You're next. And Eric, here is your introduction. In Edmonton, Alberta, Eric's love of learning began. and teaching at Mount Royal University shaped his career plan. Finance, economics, organizational behavior are his stride. Cars, travel, family joys, BMW to Sebring sweeten his ride. There you go. Eric Myers, welcome back. Putting you on speaker view. Let's have your predictions. Go.
Thank you as always, Bonnie, and thank you to all our amazing, panel members today. Some fascinating predictions, some amazing areas as always. After thinking about this, the last little bit, as I always do for a lot of different things in life, I think it comes down to two main areas that I envision being really impacted by artificial intelligence in 2026 are the two biggest areas that I see, being greatly shaped, greatly perhaps changed, with this, increase in development and usage is kind of a piggyback to what Bob was mentioning with AI and other technological platforms being used to assist with certain types of medical testing. But I also think that artificial intelligence is going to be used even more for general medical inquiries. We don't have to get into the ins and outs of this because this could go a whole lot of different ways. But in Canada and in the United States, we're seeing a lot of issues within the healthcare system, long wait times for individuals to meet with a family doctor, general physician, or other medical practitioners. And a lot of times, people, need to attend to different medical needs. Some are more urgent than others. So there's always going to be a demand for doctors. There's always going to be a need for other medical professionals to attend to both physical and psychological ailments. But I do think, as time becomes more precious, as individuals, are continuously having to wait, to meet with a healthcare practitioner, they're going to rely on artificial intelligence a little bit more to, inquire about certain conditions, certain symptoms that they might be demonstrating. Not saying that that's going to lead to, the use of, home remedies and replace, medicines and pharmaceuticals, but I do think artificial intelligence is going to be used a lot more to inquire about people's medical needs, or if they're curious about how they're feeling, how they can navigate or treat certain ailments that aren't necessarily absolutely urgent or absolutely critical. I think that's the first prediction we'll see. Number two is within the government. So again, this could go a lot of different ways. Political ideologies aside, I do think, artificial intelligence will be used, as a way to assist with budget preparations. There's no shortage of different amendments that local municipalities have to check off. Where do we allocate this money? Where do we allocate that money? Are we going to increase taxes here, decrease taxes there? So I just simply think it's going to be used more as a way to, speed up, budget deliberations, as a way to accelerate the process, to, assist, local municipalities and politicians with just getting more work done, on, different tasks, duties, and responsibilities that they have to accomplish, as opposed to spending hours upon hours, days upon days, going step by step through, each amendment within a budget. I think it'll just simply be used to help the efficiency and effectiveness of that. So those are the two biggest predictions I have. Hopefully didn't open up Pandora's box too much.
No, you're fine. You dodged that bullet. I was going, what? Be careful, be careful. We don't do politics, and we don't do policies, and we don't do anything like that. But thank you very much, Eric. And Eric, do you see any changes in piggybacking again off of what Bob Ficken just said? Do you see any changes in you as an instructor in a university in Canada? Do you see AI changing anything in your methods or in your students' interactions with you? Brad is smiling. We'll get to you soon, Brad. Hold on. Eric, any thoughts? Eric Myers?
I think there's going to have to be more alignment between, let's say, students' preferences for artificial intelligence in certain situations, faculty's, preferences. There seems to still be, at least in the, post-secondary institution that I'm teaching in, there seems to be almost misalignment, miscommunication as to what's allowed versus what's not allowed, or, one member having this train of thought, another member having that train of thought. So I think it's less about kind of how it's going to be used more or less. I think there just needs to be an improvement in the communication process, the setting of expectations. That to me, I think, is the biggest thing I hope we see in 2026 and beyond.
Thank you. In the corporate world, we call that change management, right? Eric Simone knows that, and Vic knows that, and a lot of you know that. Change management process knows that, how when a big culture change, a corporate change is happening, you have to be able to manage it and figure who needs to be brought in and what the policy is going to be. Brad Anderson, you want to say anything about that, or you want to wait? Go ahead.
I can wait. I'm a university prof too, and I was like, oh yeah, it's changed. It's changed the nature of the game.
Yep.
No doubt about
Thank
it.
you. I saw you nodding. Okay. Thank you, Eric Myers. Let's go on to Pras. Pras Chatterjee is here. Here's your intro, Pras. From Toronto's heart, where winters bite but spirits stay bold. Pras sang and played piano before finance passion took hold. At Nabisco, Clarity, SAP, OneStream, his career took flight. Now travel, marathons, and pickleball are also his heart's delight. Pras, welcome back and go ahead, Pras. Ready for you. What are your predictions, please?
Great. Thanks so much, Bonnie, for having me. And yeah, I've got some predictions. I think two I'm going to keep in my domain. One, I'm going to stray outside of it. But the first one I'm going to talk about is really about finance and AI coming together. That's a specialty I work in, how to make the office of CFO work better. I'm a CPA myself that now works as a product marketer. And I think what we're going to see all across the board, but especially in AI. And this is interesting to me because I've been trying to convince my daughter to go into accounting, and she's in grade 9 right now, and she wants nothing to do with it. And the other day, she had to do a project on AI, and she came up to me and she said, "Look, accounting is the number one job that's going to go away." And I want to make it very clear, absolutely not. AI is not going to be replacing jobs, especially accounting jobs. Rather, it's going to remove the worst parts of them. And that's going to, I think, make AI and accounting come together to make it a really attractive field. Primarily because I think what's going to happen is AI is going to help accounting and finance really go from input based, where you put in inputs and you're collecting data, massaging the data, analyzing data, to really flipping the script on that whole thing. Rather, forecasts are going to be automated. The drivers that make up all what's happening with your business, your anomalies that are going on all across your data sets, are going to come to you in a manner that's presentable, that can be explained, like different variances. And you can even do simulations. You can make yourself useful when leaders in the business come up to finance and say, "Hey, what's the outcome of X, Y, and Z, whether it's tariffs, taxes, different geopolitical issues, or different opportunities." You'll be able to give outcomes instantly. Instead of talking about what happened, you'll be asking questions about like things such as, "What should I do?" And the system, AI systems and agents especially, are going to give you options, and not carved in stone, but really almost like intelligent starting points from where you can build and work further and work harder and really drive your business that much further and really make the role of finance that much more strategic. Now, on my level, I'm in product marketing. So product marketing, make it for those of you outside of the tech space. Really what I do is I take complex products and things that engineering is built and translate them into easy speak for our audiences, when it comes to messaging and things like that, so that I kind of bridge the world between engineers and the target audience. And I think what's going to happen with product marketing is it's going to be evolved as a function, because as AI floods companies with data, someone has to decide what to make of this data and what happens. So I think product marketing becomes almost translators. We look at AI-powered insights and we turn them into stories, and that the businesses and our customers can act on. It's going to stop being slides and content, which a lot of people in product marketing hate, and rather it's going to become more of a sense-making discipline. The last one, I think I'm going to make a foray into, I think what Eric and others have been talking about, education. So I predict, and again, education is not my specialty, but just as a parent, wow, education is going to change. And this is my bold prediction. Last week, my daughter came to me and again, grade 9, 10 math, and she said, "I missed a class on slopes and things like that. What is y equals mx plus b?" For those of you that have forgotten grade 10 math, which I did, I was like, "Oh, you're asking me something I did 36 years ago." I've dated myself right then and there. We went into Gemini, not ChatGPT, Bonnie. I asked, "Please explain to myself, this is my age and my daughter, what is y equals mx plus b and how we can learn it." Gemini Basic came up with a learning plan step by step with tests that explained it to me and my daughter, and she ended up getting a 95 on the test. So I don't know what that does to the world of tutors and things like that, but Gemini was awesome. I went from deciding, do I start getting her a tutor to help her with math? We're to the point where the tutor is in there automatically. It is there working with all of us. So just something to think about. That might be a disruptor.
That is, but Pras, you said something. You saw me looking down. I wasn't being rude, but I was writing something you said was AI is giving us an intelligent starting point. Aha. aha, aha, an intelligent starting point for our curiosity, for our building on our own intelligence. Am I right? And anybody disagree with that? If you use it as an intelligent starting point, Bob Ficken, talk.
Unless you're using generative AI and it's guessing at the answer.
But aren't we all?
Well, I'm just saying that's one of the there's a lot of differences in AI.
Yep.
But if it's generative, that means it will make up an answer if it doesn't know what it is.
That's true. But if it's charming like my Sylvie, you'll be thrilled with the answer anyway because it'll start a conversation. Anybody else want to say anything? Pras,
It's not even guessing. It's just math. It's tokenization. But that's a different topic. It's not thinking. It's not guessing. It's not sentient. Sorry, Sam Altman.
Okay.
Which is why I say it's a starting point, right? So
I appreciate that. I thought that was great. I want to put a little circle around that and copyright it for you. Brad Anderson, talk, please.
Yeah, so something that I've seen from the education space is that AI is a very powerful tool if you have a certain amount of expertise in a certain area, right? You can like it's an intelligent starting point, but you need to recognize that it's an intelligent starting point and what it can mean, where it can go. And one of the things I found in the education space is that I work in universities, work with a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds and stuff like that, and they don't necessarily have that they don't have that expertise, and so they rely on it 100%.
Brad, you're next. Shall I just do your introduction and you can continue? Is that okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Welcome, Brad C. Anderson. Let me do the opening here. Brad majored in biochem, where molecules and futures dance. Then authorship beckoned Brad, his triumvirate sci-fi romance. Scholar and entrepreneurial chair, he blends science with art's wise page. In labs, in classrooms, in galaxy, Brad thrives on the ever-turning stage. How'd you like that?
It's every time you do it, it's different, and it's always bonkers amazing.
Bonkers amazing. I'll take it. I did these. I used your Cool Dudes 12 stanzas and I crunched them, and then Sylvie just did a word or two here tightening, but these were mine. So I'm very, very happy. Brad, I'm putting you on speaker view. Tell us your predictions. Go.
Yeah, so just to kind of carry on, and then I'll segue that into the thoughts that I wanted to share today. As I was kind of saying, AI is a fantastic tool if you have a lot of expertise in a certain area. A lot of kids going into education, they don't have that expertise yet, so they rely on AI completely. And so part of education is like trying to convince kids that, like, no, you can't rely on it yet. You have to develop your own ability to think and understand and know before you can use it effectively. Because if all you do is you just enter in a query and outcomes and you just sort of copy paste the outcome, like, well, like nobody needs to pay you a salary for that. Like, I don't need to, like, you need to, like, what do you bring to the table that AI can't just replace, right? And so that's some of the challenges in education, and sort of the perspective I wanted to bring to the conversation today was really more from my realm of as a science fiction writer. As a science fiction writer, I like to explore, and I think the purpose of science fiction is to explore what is the impact of a technology on society. What does it mean for people, right? And new technologies are always disruptive, and being a disruption doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. Like disruption, it's not comfortable, but it doesn't have to be pessimistic. And I think we are probably at the start of the disruption. I don't know. I think we're still in the early stages of the disruption phase that AI is going to have. Right now, AI is being, it's tons of work, tons of money is being put into developing it, deploying it into businesses and so on. From a societal perspective, we have choices as to how we're going to deploy new technologies, right? So we can deploy technologies in ways that like make me as an individual more productive, right? So I can use this and it allows me to produce more. It allows me to be more productive. I can serve more clients. I can do more things. I have more time to do more things. So we can deploy technology that makes me productive. We can also deploy technology so that it just replaces me and you don't need me anymore at all. Like we have choices in how we do that. And for sure, when there's new technologies, there's going to be some jobs where it's like, yeah, we don't need that anymore. There's going to be some jobs where we're like, yeah, we absolutely need a human being for that. And there's going to be some jobs where we have a choice. We're like, we can choose as a society. What do we want to see? What do we want to do? A great example is art. We don't need humans to make music anymore. In the last year, we've already had 2 AI songs that have hit the Billboard top 100. Humans can't distinguish between generated and AI generated music. So we're already at the stage where we don't need humans to make music anymore. But as a society, I think we get to choose. Like, do we want that? Like, do we want to have human made music, or do we get to choose what is the role? And so far, I think a lot of society's been kind of caught flat-footed because this is such an amazing technology with such huge implications, and we've just been kind of watching it unfold, and we don't really know how it is going to unfold. But I think my predictions for 2026 is that I think the technology has been around long enough now that we're starting to get a sense of the things it can do. And we're going to start as a society as a whole in different areas. We're going to be starting to ask questions about what is the way that we want to deploy this. Do we want to get rid of human musicians completely, or what's the role of human musicians? Do we want to get rid of the roles of accountants? What's the role of accountants, and so on and stuff like that. So I think that next year, 2026, we're going to start seeing more of those conversations with us wrestling. And I think that's a positive thing. I think if we don't have those conversations, then technology is just then we have no control. If we don't have those conversations, we have no control over how the technology is deployed. Having those conversations allows us to take ownership of our future. And I think we're going to start having those more and more on a society-wide scale in 2026. Those are my predictions.
Thank you, Brad. Before I go around, Eric Simone has to leave. Eric, what's your holiday drink, your favorite? Unmute. There we go.
Eggnog and brandy, but not too much, because too much eggnog.
Homemade eggnog or store-bought? Do you have a favorite brand?
Homemade. My wife makes it.
Ooh, okay. All right. And what kind of brandy did we get? What kind of brandy?
XO.
Okay. All right. Everybody's invited to Eric's house for
for sure.
toast over the holidays.
Great
there
panel.
you go. Eric, thank you for being here.
Thanks,
I'll
folks.
talk to you soon, and you'll still be.
All right. Thanks, Bonnie.
I'll talk to you. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye, folks.
Okay. Brad, thank you. Anybody have any comments on the idea? We're dwindling here, but we still have more to go. Anybody, any thoughts on the idea of choice? That's a very key word Brad shared. I like that. Bob, go.
Not choice, but something that I want to say.
Yep. Brief.
For all teachers out there, university, K-12, whatever, if you're not teaching your students how to use AI, you're way behind the curve.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move on. We're welcoming Bill Williams next. Bill, I'll read your little intro here. From Pennsylvania to Denver, Cali to Japan and back, Bill's clan moved like trains switching track. Texas Tech Media, UT Austin instructor, Bowling Green TV project, Stacks, that rhymes with tracks. He launched his PR firm emailed Thought for the Day at reader's request. Now his 20 Years of Humor book informs our mornings with the best. Bill, I hope you will like that, and we're ready for your predictions. Go.
Thank you, Bonnie. And
Welcome.
I've been around long enough to know that any prediction I make is probably blowing in the winds, because whatever I have dreamed in the past has already been created and outdated. I think back, you talked about TV, and I remember fondly buying color televisions for one of the TV stations I worked for. They weighed 400 pounds a piece and cost close to $250,000. Okay. This telephone I've got right now gives better pictures than those TV cameras that weighed 400 pounds and cost $250,000. It's just been unreal in what has been going on. In film, I remember having to carry a 20-pound camera on my shoulder to make pictures. And now, again, I can do it with my phone, and the picture quality is better, and I don't have to send it to a lab for processing and take a week to get the film back to do the editing. What's going to happen next? I really, in all honesty, can't imagine how much better it's going to be, but we can take a look. Right now, I'm guessing that in publishing, which is what I'm doing, I've found that instead of going through all the editing processes and, hey, remember color separations to make a color picture on print, now, again, it's all done here. And I can write a book and include pictures on it on my laptop, send it directly to the publisher, and have it out the next day published. So what I'm predicting is the fact that we are going to see a ton of stuff that is basically just garbage, because anybody can print anything that they think is great, and that's super. And if they rely on income from the publishing, they may be very much out of luck, because maybe 3 people will buy it. AI, horrible self-published books, but it mentioned the medical aspects. I am experiencing a situation with family members who need to see neurologists and some specialists. And some of them are having to wait for 6 months to get in to see somebody. In one case, the emergency room said you needed to see somebody immediately, and it was 6 months before they could get in. I predict that the AI and the new procedures will be able to, solve those kinds of waits. And that's a pretty good thing. Autos, well, we've already got all sorts of self-driving autos and everything else, but I think we're going to be looking at now putting some of the AI into traffic controls. Okay, aviation. Now, we're still relying on people in a traffic tower to do the traffic, air traffic control. And I see an awful lot of possibilities for AI getting into that. Mail? Well, mail may not be a delivery anymore, because they may have to, not have to, but we may seeing all of the ads and everything else appear on our TVs and on our phones, and we can't get away from it because, hey, they don't need to print it anymore. And that may be something that we've got to go. I've been around long enough to no matter what happens, I'm going to be surprised, and I can't really predict what would not make me surprised.
Thank you very much. Very interesting about the publishing. As one of our panelists just said, we have choice. And the choice is, what do we read? Maybe what do we publish, Bill? But what do we buy and what do we read? And we still
Absolutely.
we still have that choice. So thank you. And there are a lot of really good books out there that are produced and published by real people that aren't getting more than 3 or 4 copies bought or read. So I think we have a dilemma in there. What catches our attention? Anybody have any quick comments for Bill before I move on? Are we good? I think we're good. Okay, let me go to next is a gentleman who's not here. I'm just going to read his predictions because he's the next cool dude in line. It's Aditya Varma, a former commander of the Indian Navy, and at Dohulas Kwan School in Labs on Courts, his talents shone bright. A commissioned Navy commander, tech, tactics, operational insight. Now a cybersecurity expert and guiding veterans through tech's terrain too. Aditya boxes, rides horses, tees up on greens, keeping his purpose in view. So here are his 3 predictions, and James is next, and then Amadeus, just so you know. So prediction number 1 from Aditya. By 2026, enterprise security will feel a lot more like an autopilot than a dashboard. Instead of endless rule tuning, AI native systems will quietly watch every workload, app, and packet, stop attacks in real time, woohoo, and even self-test their own updates before going live. Prediction 2. Security and observability will fully fuse into one single digital nervous system. By 2026 and beyond, SOC and NOC teams won't work in silos. They'll share one live view of the entire business, network, apps, users, and data. And prediction 3, green AI-ready networks become one of the biggest competitive superpowers. And he adds, as AI traffic explodes, the winners will be the organizations that can move massive amounts of data without blowing up their power and their cooling budgets. So thank you to Aditya, couldn't be here. Okay, let's go to James Porfido next. James, here's your intro. Raised in New Jersey, books, football, and honor shaped James's stride. Political silence. I'm going to start again. Raised in New Jersey, books, football, and honor shaped James's stride. Political science launched his path. The law became his pride. Clerk, prosecutor, trial attorney on legal TV in famed defense. He authored Unequal Justice, ran 13 marathons, and cooking spices his creative sense. Welcome, James. I hope that was okay.
That was awesome, Bonnie.
Sorry about the
Thank you.
fumble, dear. Okay,
No,
I'm putting you on
no.
speaker view. Go, go, go. What you got?
No. And I have one addition. I have 14 marathons now. So
Oh my, I
yeah.
was using an old bio from what, a week
Yeah,
ago?
we
Excuse me.
just a month ago finished the DC
Okay.
Marine Corps Marathon.
I can
So
see you're running.
um,
Yes. Go. What are your
I don't know how
predictions?
many I have left, but I want to pick up on all of the themes and discussions that we've been having, and Bill made me a bit nostalgic here. Thinking back as all these things are happening so quickly, and you really can't keep up with the technology and everything that's happening. And a living example of that is I'm taking courses all day tomorrow on AI in the law. So it is an interesting thing because AI has consumed us as a society, and as a culture, as a world. We're all getting caught up, and some people are much more advanced than others. And I have to confess that I don't know a whole heck of a lot about it in the law and how it can be utilized, but there are so many ways I know, and I want to obviously educate myself to that. What I do know in the law is that it has been abused to some extent. And when it has been abused, it's been called out. And there are some cases where judges have actually determined that attorneys have used AI to write briefs because they're citing cases that are not real. So it's really treacherous. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending upon how it's used. And I think that could be said of every industry that it's used in. So my predictions are, I have two. One is law related, and the other is outside. And to dovetail off of what Bill had mentioned before with his family situation and a neurologist. So the first is my prediction is, and this is not anything to really do with AI. I think that cashless bails will be eliminated. I do think that we're seeing an influx of repeat offenders who are arrested with serious, long criminal histories, who are released by judges and let back out on the streets to commit new crimes and new offenses. And I think that has to stop. And I think there's got to be a public outcry. And I think that is happening. So I see that happening. And this is not a political issue. This is for the benefit and the betterment of the community, to keep violent criminals off the streets so they can't reoffend and hurt other people. That is happening. There is a movement to do that. So that's my prediction that we're going to go back to cash bails, believe it or not. We're going to go backwards, and we're going to get rid of cashless bails. That's one prediction. The second is to pick up on what Bill was talking about with the wait listing for a neurologist. I personally have a situation with a family member as well, same situation, and we actually had to consult with AI to determine the titration of a very powerful benzodiazepine medication to determine the best method to titrate down to reduce or eliminate a medication, because the neurologists weren't, quite frankly, there was a long wait to see them, number one. And number two, they really weren't helpful. It was really, trial and error, from their experience, this could work, or perhaps it might not work. This might be a good schedule. It might not be. Believe it or not, AI actually was able to give a lot of information and almost made us, we certainly were comfortable talking to doctors in the language that needed to be discussed. So AI is making advances and strides. And my prediction is that, and again, Bonnie, what you said, biohacking was the definition. I see biohacking is taking off in 2026. People are going to start becoming more in tune with their bodies, what we're capable of doing, how we can heal ourselves naturally. And it may mean that, perhaps doctors are going to have to change directions as well. And this is not to be political either, but I think that there's going to be a re-education. And I think AI is helping that. And that's my prediction.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, James. And health is certainly top of mind for so many of us, regardless of who our relatives are or what our age is. We're certainly having a lot of issues. And I know a lot of us like to look up symptoms, and used to be called medical students disease, where you'd look up Bill, remember back in the day, early internet and even books and libraries and encyclopedias. What do I have and what's that pimple on my chin and why is my foot hurting? And we would self-diagnose, and now we're getting this whole lore, this whole tome of information, good, better, maybe not always, sometimes best. Thank you very much. And let's go to our final panelist today. It is Amadeus Nunnally. And Amadeus, I'm going to read your intro. Here we go. Homeschooled, Amadeus found joy in the why, the when, and the how. At 14, he balanced high school and college with intellect his mama did endow. D&D dungeon master, former tennis pro, learning gamification guru. The Lavender Dragon co-founder, Amadeus's Sententia anthology book is soon due. I hope that was good, Amadeus. I'm putting you on speaker. Go ahead. What do you got predictions for? Go.
It was great. Thanks. I'll keep this short since I'm almost out of time.
No. You take your time. We're going to go a little bit over, and Jordan is going to take us out on Voice America Media Business. We're going to keep going. So go ahead. Take your time. No hurry.
I do have things that I have to get to, unfortunately.
Okay.
So for my predictions, mostly is in the sphere of course creation. And some of the AI and products we've been working with lately actually allow you to pretty much put in prompts and ideas of what you want to design for a course and get kind of a shell outline for it with AI. And then it will even go so far as to give you some links and some citations of documents that you can then use to further grow that entire course. So what this for me is a wonderful idea of really quickly people are going to be able to turn an idea for a course. Now it's not going to be first I have to write it down. Now I need to find someone who actually knows course design or someone who knows the business and get them to help design it for me. Now people can actually get that idea down. And I think by next year, we're going to see a much easier to crack into field of better design than the normal just walls of text and a couple images course design. So that's my first prediction is course creation for the layman is going to be much easier without being full of some of the pitfalls you would usually have. I would say my second one is on the more fun side, but as you know, with AI Dungeon and a couple others, I think a lot of story and narrative design with AI is getting a lot better. And by next year, you're going to see a much easier to use long-term story creation aspects of that are going to be pretty freely available and easy to use.
Okay, can you tell everybody, Amadeus, quickly the name of the app you suggested to me where I was able to, nobody be horrified, especially not you, Brad Anderson. I was able to put in a couple of prompts and it wrote an incredible story for me, a 2-page story in about 3 minutes that just absolutely blew me away. What was the name of that app, Amadeus? You know, it's my...
Yeah, so that was Dungeon AI.
Dungeon AI.
Lots of fun.
Anybody want to have fun with that? I just put in a prompt with the names of my 2 grandchildren, my grandpuppies, actually, they're dogs. And I said it was going to be a day in the life of a detective, something like that. And it just wrote a story for me that was just absolutely wow. I didn't publish it. I just share it with people if they want to see it. But it blew me away. It was really, really sharp and good. Not everybody got the style. I read it to a couple friends and family and I said, what? But I thought it was absolutely great. Let's quickly go around. I know you all have something to do. Let's go around the table, please, and get what you're... I'm just going to go in order of how I see you on my screen here. What's your favorite holiday drink? And then we'll close out. James, what you got?
Well, it's anything with Prosecco. That's been my drink of choice lately, and I've been mixing all kinds of different things with that, and it always turns out great. So for Thanksgiving, it was apple cider and cranberry. So probably something along those lines.
Thank you, Eric Myers. What's in your cup or your stein or your mug? What you got?
Yeah, for the holiday season, I got to go with the classic bourbon and scotch. 2 of my favorites, 2 of the absolute best.
Okay. Vic, what you doing?
How about a sweet creme brulee martini?
Ooh.
Wow.
Wait, hold on. You put the martini. How do you get the creme brulee on it?
You actually put sugar on top and burn.
And what kind of a mug, oven proof? What do you do? Or broil?
Put it in a martini glass. You're just doing the top.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, I gotta try. I gotta look up that recipe. Brad C. Anderson, what's up for your holiday drink?
You betcha. My wife makes homemade hot chocolate with homemade marshmallows, and it is fantastic. And that's my drink.
Wait a minute. Homemade marshmallows?
You can make marshmallows at home. Who knew?
And what kind of shape are they? Is it just like marshmallow cream in a jar, or what is it?
No, it's no marshmallow cream. It's like like marshmallows are basically just sugar with some weird stuff added
I
to it,
know.
right? But yeah, like she'll make you can make them just in like a cake pan, and then you can kind of cut them out. So they'll just be these square little marshmallows or whatever flavor she can dream up. She'll usually have like a creme de menthe kind of flavored marshmallows in the hot
You've
chocolate.
just ruined my holiday. I have to make them. Thank you very much. The heck with the diet. Bob Ficken, what are you drinking?
Hot apple pie.
Hot apple pie. There you go.
2 ounces of Tuaca. Wait, 1 ounce of Tuaca, 2 ounces of apple cider. Warm it up to the temperature you like. My tip, warm the mug too, so it stays the right temperature for you longer.
Very good. You mix it with a
Stir it
cinnamon
up,
stick?
a little whipped cream and a cinnamon stick, you're good to go.
I had a feeling. Amadeus, what are you drinking for the holidays?
For Thanksgiving, my girlfriend and I made our own crock pot whiskey apple cider, and it was delicious.
Oh, we're getting modern here. Thank you. Bill Williams, what do you think?
Hey, can't beat Irish coffee.
Irish coffee. Well, I make my own hot chocolate with a little bit of dry Hershey's dry cocoa powder without sugar, and I put a little bit of regular white sugar in with it and mix it, make a little paste in a heavy mug, and then I add 1% milk to about 3/4 of the way up. I microwave that to about a minute. Then while I'm doing that, I have a little individual whisk. It goes, woo, you push button, it's got batteries in it, and I chill a little pewter mug with a handle, stick it in the freezer for about a minute till the metal is cold. Then I pour about 1.5 inches of heavy cream into the mug into the pitcher while it's cold. And then I put a little cinnamon and a little sugar on top. And then I whisk it until it gets thick. Then I add 30 more seconds to the hot chocolate in the microwave, take it out and put a dollop of the fresh whipped cream on top. And then I go watch a French detective mystery on my TV. And that makes me really happy. And for the holidays, I'll be adding a spoonful of golden rum. And there you go. Gentlemen, cool dudes, it has been just delightful. Thank you for kicking off new season 2026 Predictions Crystal Ball. This is Cool Dudes Prediction Special #1. Let's see if we can get the outro music to play. And hold on, here we go. Yes.
Are you tired of hearing the
I wish
future
you
is
all a
already
happy
here?
holiday.
We are too. That may have
Yes.
been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet. Take a deep breath, tune out the hype, the noise, and turn up the volume. Savvy, art of the possible technology visionaries talking about how today's innovations right now are shaping every aspect of our real
bet.
future. We'll laser focus our spotlight on buzzworthy tech
Here we go.
like artificial intelligence,
Yes.
machine learning,
Yes.
Internet of Things,
Yes.
augmented reality,
Yes.
and lots more.
Lots more.
Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now. With the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
Thank you all. Wave goodbye to social. We're going to take this out. Everybody, happy holiday. I'll be back in 2 weeks on December 7th.